of critical technologies and their impact as the session theme. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the famous United States writer Toffler, armies that could reach further, hit harder, and get faster usually win, while the range restricted, less well armed, and slower armies lose. For this reason, a vast amount of human creative effort has been put into extending the range, increasing the firepower, and accelerating the speed of weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, to discuss in deep about the emerging technologies in the conduct of warfare in a constantly changing operational environment, we invited an eminent personality who is now going to chair the session by sharing his expertise on the specific theme. He is none other than Mr. Indika D'Souza, and he is currently the strategic advisor and vice president of Huawei Technologies Lanka Private Limited and the chairman of the Federation of Information Technology Industry Sri Lanka, which is the apex body of the ICT industry. Also, he is currently serving as a vice chairman of the ICT Skills Council of Sri Lanka. Mr. Indika D'Souza has immensely contributed for the betterment of the country by serving as a member of Presidential Task Force on Digital Economy, Education Transformation, and also being a member of the Standing Committee on Accreditation and Quality Assurance for Higher Education sector in Sri Lanka. He is qualified in marketing from the Chartered Institute of Marketing and Master in Business Administration from SMC University, Switzerland. And he is currently reading for his doctorate of Business Administration in University of Kelaniya. Ladies and gentlemen, with his vast experience and expertise on the particular subject, I'm sure that he would boost us to embark on a highly productive session. With that, let me invite Mr. Indika D'Souza to commence with his proceedings, and I cordially invite other panelists of the session, Mr. Bhushan Dayaratna and Mr. Varuna Jayala, to take their seats in the panel. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Got it. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, and thanks for the introduction, all the senior military officers, ladies and gentlemen, who's joining physically here as well as virtually. Good afternoon again. So we have about roughly 2 hours altogether for the session. We have two eminent speakers who will talk about the specific topics which is in the next round. So we will break into the session as the plan. We will have two keynotes, and also we'll get into a question and answer as well. So I will do my best to manage because we have physical audience here as well. Then I think physically there's another group in Buttala, and also we have a large number of audience joining virtually as well. So let's try to make the session much as possible interactive using the technology as well. So getting into the as per topic, what is given here, the critical technologies and its impact. So before getting into the warfare or the real technologies as per se, what we need to understand is today we are living through what we call it the fourth industrial revolution. So we passed the first, we passed the second, we passed the third. So, but the gaps between these industrial revolutions has been a couple of 100 years, and it is getting shorter and shorter. Now we are a generation who's living through the fourth industrial revolution right now, and we are already looking into the fifth industrial revolution. So what is this fourth industrial revolution means to us? It's move of digital adoption into day in and day out things we do. even a civilian for us, as a military officer for you all, this is very much similar. Now, when you're looking at, in a very simpler way, when you're looking at 20 years back, what were the biggest brands in the world? All those were oil companies. Now, when you look at today, what are the biggest brands in the world? All top 20 is IT brands, including two brands both of us are part of as well, right? So we have one US company and one Chinese company, which is represented in the panel. So this is where the world is heading. And also when you're looking at another trend line, which is you all know better, where the war was. Now, Gulf, we had the war when the dominance of the oil companies were there. Now we are talking about a geopolitical situation where the technology is getting involved, which is, I mean, it's an open fact, which is all of us know what the tension between US and China, which is having. This is purely because of the technology leadership. That's a fact, right? So when you're looking at all those, security has become a key role from a cyber point of view, which is traditionally we are very good in the traditional protection of physical borders. Now security has become very much on a cyberspace. Because again, when you move into the fifth industrial revolution, which is we are talking about this intelligent world. Now we are talking about, fourth is about the digital economy, and where the green technologies as well as the digital will get merged in the fifth industrial revolution, which is the intelligent world. Everything will become more in a simpler way. It will start sensing, it is get connected, which is get loaded to the cloud, which is artificial intelligence will be used, and vice versa decisions are made, it will come back, it will get executed. Simple example is like autonomous vehicles, right? Already we are seeing it in, which is we are talking about the drones, etc. coming in. How these systems will change the way we work, especially for you, the understanding which is need to get is from a military point of view, what are the skill sets to be developed in the future generation of military officials on these domains. Now on a regular way we talk about, today a kid who's in school or university, when they come out to the job market, that job that student is going to do is not there, it's not created. And the problem they're going to solve is not there. So we need to train a student today with the skill sets what is required to do a job which is not there and solve a problem which is not there. So that is a requirement. So this is a challenge for as military officials also. From your point of view, you will face that what the skill sets what is required for a military officer in future world on security aspects as well. So I will not take much time on trying to explain. I want to set an expectation or give a bit of a very high level overview where the world is heading. And from a digital economy point of view, everything is getting changed, the way we work. And also we can see the contribution to the national economy from digital economy is getting increased, and how mature markets have grown, how country like ours is working on it. You would have seen a lot of news about digital economic efforts that as an industry, which is we are trying to do. So with that, I will move into the first speaker. So Bhushan Daratna will do the first keynote. So Bhushan had been like a veteran in the industry. So currently he's the Group Director CEO of the Sictra Holdings currently. So Bhushan will talk about the emerging technologies, advanced applications tools for FX cross domains. So Bhushan has over 25 years of experience in senior management in various industries such as sports, garments, diversified business conglomerates, and education specifically, which is the current role also, I think plays a major role on cybersecurity aspect from an education point of view. He holds an MBA in marketing from University of Colombo, Bachelor's of Commerce, special degree also from University of Colombo. Bhushan is an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, CIM UK, and has a diploma in sports science and also on physical education. Currently, he is the Group Director, CEO of Sictra Holdings, which is a diversified group specializing in cybersecurity, training, consultation, and software development. He's recognized as a renowned keynote speaker, field of cybersecurity since 2013. He has been invited by the United States Pacific Command to address the Pacific Senior Communicators Annual Event, which attracts senior military officials from 28 nations in Asia and the Pacific region. He focuses has been responding to cybersecurity and disaster recovery. Under Bhushan's leadership, SICRA conducts cybersecurity training and annual cyber endeavors programs of multinational communication as well. So Bhushan has been in many of the global forums, as well as he has been a renowned keynote speaker. And from a local point of view, he is a key member of the Sri Lanka Software Exporters Association as well, and he plays a leadership role. So without taking much time, I will invite Bhushan for delivery of the keynote. Over to you, Bhushan.
Hi, good afternoon. It's going to be a tough task keeping all of you awake after a very good lunch. But anyway, I'll try my best to keep you all awake. So I think this will load in well. Okay, why are we here? That's one of the key things. And I'm sure as being military officers, you all will know, if and when a war breaks up again, it will never be the same that we did many, many years ago. We will not be using and running around with an AK-47 or a T-56 or more advanced weapons. Everything we see would happen on the internet world. Whether we like it or not, we are much more digitized than we were. The pandemic, 3 years, made us run into more digital platforms than ever before. Now, organizations planned 3 to 5 years of digitization plan has gone in within a couple of months or a couple of days. Otherwise, those companies would have had to shut down globally due to the pandemic. So, talking about digitization, I think is inevitable. It's something in our blood, and we need to do it. Now, with the digitization, there's a lot of other things comes around. One key area is the cybersecurity. Second is the emerging technologies. What are these emerging technologies coming in, and how these emerging technologies can be adopted to our day-to-day operations, whether it can be military or whether it's corporate. And then what are the advanced application tools that has been developed, and sometimes what we talk today, maybe in 6 months will be obsolete. There'll be something new has come up. And then how these emerging technologies and advanced application tools will affect our domains that we work on, whether air, land, or sea. So that's my topic today. So that's where I'm going to talk about. And I'm given 25 minutes. I'm going to run these 4 areas and how it affects our day-to-day operation and how we should use it for our day-to-day operation. Right. So what are the emerging technologies that we talk about? I'm sure all of you all are aware of AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Artificial intelligence has given loads of information, a load of data for us to make productive and decisions that we earlier based on our emotions and impulse decisions. With AI, we have generated a lot of data can give you more accurate decisions. And number two is you can predict your analysis. What is going to happen in the future, you can predict now based on the past records. Now, I was just talking to Session Chair Indika just before we start that we had the QR code system during the pandemic time where for you to get the petrol or fuel. Now, the amount of data that you collected, you can even predict in the future this particular area, this particular station needs only 2 bowsers of fuel for the next 1 week. If another shortage comes in, then the central unit of the CPC will know how much of bowsers that needs to be sent into this location, how much into that location, where without disrupting the operations or delivery of fuel to the public. Previously, we have not been able to do, even if you have tried to collect it through the chit system where what goes out from the CPC, you still will not be able to collect that information even for 1 year. So that amount of data that we have had can be used even for predicting your analysis and also the patterns of usage. So machine learning comes in. Once AI and ML connects, the machine learns when it keeps on happening certain things over and over again, machine learns. Now that's why it always says we all make mistakes, but don't make the same mistake twice. If you make the same mistake twice, what happens? Which means you have not learned from your mistake. Good old days, what they're saying, learn from your own mistakes. Today is learn from others' mistakes, not your own mistakes. Quantum computing, it's not the normal computer that we are talking about. More scientific way of analyzing the data, more scientific way of using this data is what we are talking about quantum computing. Especially in the military, in the war games, this quantum computing is going to be very, very valuable. For us, as military officials, you need to know what these technologies are available, how you're going to use it, and how we are going to upskill ourselves in using this technology for our operations. The other one is logistics operations, optimizations. So using the predictive analysis, AI, ML, and then the quantum computing, advanced method of scientific usage can also optimize your operations. Robotics and drones. I'm sure you are aware, I think about 6 years ago, I saw something called a killer drone. Has anyone seen that video clip called a killer drone? No? Raise your hand if you have seen it. This came about 5-6 years ago. It's a small drone, keeps on your palm, unmanned drone. It has C4 explosives, it has facial recognitions, and it has even your blood type. So, and it can work alone or work as a group, can even break in a bulletproof wall. So when you go back home today, just type on your Google, go to YouTube, type killer drone, you'll see that video clip. So if good old days, if someone want to assassinate me here in this location today, I think majority of you also will go with me, because they'll have to bomb or they'll have to use some kind of other explosive to do this. But the killer drone can kill only myself and make all of you all survive. So it has this drone, he throws out, there's no one man it, it comes on his own, it works from kilometers away, it doesn't have to come somewhere close by, it can even throw out the drone from Gaul or from Matara, and that comes in, search for my facial recognition, And when it comes close to myself, then I'll identify, confirms it is the target that you need to assassinate, and that drone goes into my forehead and go for the C4 explosive. So no one else get hurt, it's only me. This came up 5-6 used for many purposes. Surveillance. You don't have to, send people. It can do the surveillance. And then you have the cybersecurity innovations. All this technology connected to some kind of a network or a system. It was good old days, people went behind money. You would have seen in a movie, somebody hacked into a bank account, transferred the money. Now today you don't see that. Today people steal data. When you steal data, then you can multiply what you want to earn. What are the advanced application tools that we have? Augmented reality and virtual reality. And I'm sure when you have, now today you go to CCC, you go to One Golf Face, you go to many other shopping malls, you have these virtual reality games. You wear that, and then you are in that. I mean, either you are going on a roller coaster ride, or you're going in a ship, you feel the same. And there are certain movie theaters even have the sparkling of water to show that you have got wet. So how do we use that in the military operations? You can create a war zone, and you will feel the same way when you get shot. So, I mean, you don't die, but you will have the same feeling. So the augmented reality and virtual reality coming together can make a lot of simulations. Now this is currently used in piloting, even in vessels, or even in cars. But we can use this for many battlefields, so visualizing, giving certain options. If you know your enemy is this, you have your surveillance, you have found out these enemies are in this place, these are the weapons that they have, these are the number of soldiers that they have on the other side. You can do a simulation here instead of just sending the team without knowing. They practice and they go, so you have minimum damage in terms of human life. IoT. IoT is probably taking life over. Sometimes before you go home, if you have IoT devices, there are air conditioners which are connected to IoT. Before you go home, you can on air condition, and if you're living in an area which is like Anuradhapura or some hot area, so it take 5 to 10 minutes for the air condition to be cool when you go home. But when you are connected to an IoT device, air conditioning, you can on the air condition before you go home so that you have the same room temperature when you come. So likewise, there are so much of IoT devices that you can connect in life in our day-to-day business operations. Real-time monitoring. You're talking about 4G technology. Now you're talking about 5G technology. So you can, real-time as physical, you can see what is happening on the other side. So you don't have to physically be present. I'm sure going forward, you will have holograms here talking, and I might be in my own residence, or someone from US can talk to you here in person, in a hologram, as if he's present. And today, I think because of the COVID, we have everyone has got used to digital platforms. As Session Say I mentioned, there's a team coming, logging in from Buttala, and also there's another platform coming in. So we have got used to this technology whether we like it or not. So we need to see how do you optimize it. Advanced sensors. Cybersecurity is all about not being reactive, but it's being proactive. If something happens, then you run around, then your cybersecurity controls have not been there. If you can stop an incident taking place, that's where you would have been successful in preventing a disaster. So there are sensor systems, like in a vehicle, if your leg is on the accelerator, and if 5 meters away or 10 meters away, there is a vehicle in front, it will do an auto brake. The vehicle will not accelerate anymore. That's a sensor system. There are sensor lights. And you would have seen some new vehicles that you have, even the dicky can be opened either by hand or by leg. You mentioned the dicky door is opened. It's all sensor systems. again in cybersecurity, if you have a knock or if you have a SOC, there are sensor systems. If someone's account, if someone's computer has been compromised accidentally, if there's more data going in from it, the sensor will pick and say there is behavior which is unlikely, so for you to go and check. 3D printing, which is another great thing. I mean, I happened to be in Deakin Research Center last December. I was amazed about 3D printing. They print metal on 3D. It will look as absolutely identical for a normal thing. So when you are doing a research and development, you don't have to spend huge amount of money in developing a thing. We can do it the same thing identical on 3D printing. Also for medical equipments, they had an incident at that time. A person has met with an accident, lost an ear. And 3D printing printed an ear which is identical to your other ear, and they connected to it. So these technologies are there. We need to, I mean, we are not talking about printing on paper. This metal 3D printing is also available, even wood. What are the effective domains that we have? What these affecting where? I mean, we have 3 specific domains that we need to talk about. Number 1, we are talking about land operations. I mean, as of you all know that when you're going into enemy state, enemy area, how much of risk that our soldiers take place. So if you can use these emerging technologies, advanced tools, and identify without sending your person, unmanned drone, or use the technology which is AI based on the data that you have collected. You do a AR, VR training. That will save good loads of life of our military operations. You don't need to go and send a person there and find out what is happening there. You don't need to, I mean, there are even technologies to counter mines. If there is a certain height, you send the drone, then that has the clicker to say, okay, this particular areas there are mines. And then you can dissolve those mines by the drone so that you clear the area for the troops to enter. Then we are talking about air superiority. Now, the drones, whether it's on air or land, it is needed. Now, for example, agriculture. Today, lots of artificial intelligence are being used. How the growth level of certain vegetations, which part of the days or the times of the country, Yalakanna or Mahakanna, where you want to be, which one you want to grow. All that can be collected through this data. And also the AI-powered analytical tools that connects you with predictive behavior. You can predict what is happening. And then also the tool, you identify where your enemy is. As I told you, that killer drone. It doesn't have to be a killer drone itself for you to identify where your enemy is. If you don't know where your enemy is, then you don't know where to attack. So these air superiority can be used for you to identify and make a precise target. Naval domains. So as Session Shah was talking about, good old days we were talking about going in a vehicle which is you call 588 or 588. And then now today what has happened? You go in Pick Me or Uber. Another advancement, what? Driverless vehicles. Right now they are testing helicopters, driverless. Now they have already started delivering in Dubai and certain parts of states, deliveries on Uber by a drone. So now naval base, there are vessels also being used right now, unmanned and autonomous. So safeguarding all this on cybersecurity field is a key threat or the key area that we need to focus on. Everything is connected to the internet, and if there is no one to protect it, that becomes a problem. That is where the skills level of people that you need to have and upgrade yourself in order to safeguard our country and at the same time the systems. Few case studies I would want to mention. Number one, unarmed aerial vehicles, UAs. In surveillance, we are talking about sending something like this and identifying where your target is, where you have. And in China, there is no one getting lost. In Hong Kong, I have a friend in Hong Kong, and she was telling her daughter, which is about in grade 3, goes to school all by herself. They are 100% sure that nobody will kidnap her. There is a small tag the school has given you, put it onto the leg. From the tag, you identify where your child is. And every 5 feet, there are CCTV cameras connected to each other. So from the time that you leave the apartment to go to the school, from the school to back, everything is connected through artificial intelligence, and they will know where your child is. Cybersecurity critical infrastructure. As I said, if a war breaks down, it's not going to be on weapons, it's going to be attacking critical infrastructure. This is something as a gas plant in US. So there can be physical attacks, there can be cyber attacks, then there can be explosives, and also there can be infiltration into the systems. There are two types of threats, internal threat and external threat. External threat is someone trying to penetrate into your system through an external party. Now you have a lot of perimeter defenses which blocks that. The highest threat is right now is internal threat. Two types. Number one is because ignorant computer user. The second is that someone disgruntled employee of the organization, he or she brings damage to the system. Augmented realities. These are military training which is taking place mostly in the US. I think these are all US uniforms. And as mentioned that I am involved with the US Pacific Command in multinational communication interoperability program, where we train military officers from 28 nations. When a disaster takes place, how do you support one another country? So we have embedded the man-made disasters, which is cyber crimes, into this program for the last 8 years, so that again we do have this simulation type of training. You don't have to put them into a war zone to train them. So you don't have to lose your fellow soldiers in the training or in going into an area without being trained properly. IoT using for logistic operations. Seamlessly you can identify where your fleets are, where the vehicle is. If your stock level is coming down, automatically a sensor system sends to stores so that your order levels have come down. Automatically orders are being done. And you inform the closest stores, and then the vehicle picks up and delivers. So human involvement in this type of work is very minimum. AI-based predictive maintenance. Today, a lot of systems are going down because you have not done the maintenance in the time that it should be done. Now, in the cybersecurity world, we have AI-based predictive maintenance. So that when, for example, if one machine is going heated up, the AI will come and tell, look, if you need to put the cooler into this machine, and if you not, the whole system will come down. So likewise, in the IoT or wherever the digital platforms that we are in, we can definitely control and do the predictive maintenance as required. Last minute, how the challenges and the future going to look like for us. Number one, ethical consideration. Some of these things that we say and what we do sometimes is not ethical. I'll just take one more minute. I say, for example, if you have a criminal inside the prison, who comes to see him? His family and other fellow criminals. At the entrance, you keep the mobile phones. You are not supposed to take the mobile phones inside. There are tools that can be used within 1 hour or within 2 hours. You can extract all the data in the mobile phone for your forensic analysis. So you will find the network of all the incidents has taken place. Whether it is ethical or not, taking data without the permission of the person is what I'm talking about, ethical consideration. Then you have anticipating advances and future trends in the military. As I said, what is developed today, 3 months, 4 months down the line, it's going to be obsolete. How do you keep up with this pace of technological development? You need to do a lot of R&D, and also you need to do how other countries are using these technologies and tools for your operation. Otherwise, we are fighting with somebody who has so much of tools, and you're going into a boxing ring knowing that you're going to lose. Finally, it's the skills. So we need to upskill our staff as much as possible. The weakest link, I would say, in this whole domain is a human. So if you do not upskill ourselves with all these emerging technologies and advanced tools, we are going to be having an issue. Thank you very much. I hope I have covered areas in terms of emerging technologies, advanced tools, and how these domains work in 3 areas that I mentioned about. Once again, thank you very much for inviting me here. And later on, I'm willing to take any questions if you do have. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhushan, for that deep dive, specifically on the cybersecurity angle, as well as you spoke about the AI, which is how important is simply we call it as data-driven decision making. Like the example what you took about the QR code, the data what was available, in reality, we need to accept the fact we never made use of that data. So, I mean, we collected a lot of data, but sadly, for whatever the reason, we are not making use of it. Probably that is a practice we need to bring it into the action from data-driven decision making without rather we do ad hoc prediction. And also Bhushan spoke about AR, VR, how the stimulations can be used, IoT, even technologies like 5G which is coming in. Possibly you must be knowing that as a country, Sri Lanka has the lowest latencies. One of the top countries has the lowest latencies across the world because we have, if I'm not mistaken, 6 cables landing in our country connecting across the world. So we have these advantages as well as like from a military point of view, looking at your analysis and the planning way forward, these will be interesting tools to be looking at. And the things like he spoke about the 3D printing, etc. And also the one of the key points what attract me was from a warfare point of view, how your enemy will attack your critical infrastructure. It can be your power grid, right? Like what happened in 2 days back. Obviously, it was lightning or whatever the technical malfunction. But how do we protect this critical infrastructure? Like such breakdown happens, the damage can be huge, right? So, I mean, when a mature markets, your gas lines to everything is automated today. And even, our grid is not fully automated, but that is also, we need to really look through. So that was a very interesting discussion. So probably keep the audience going, make sure that everybody is interactive as well. And it's a tough time also just after lunch, as Bhushan said, keeping such a technical discussion. Probably I'll ask one simple question. This is not a technical question as such, right? One simple question. Maybe audience from virtual as well as who's physically can probably raise their hand and give an answer. It's a very, very simple thing. Who knows better than us about myself? Who knows better than us about myself? Whether it's your wife, husband, whatever. Can somebody give me an answer? Yeah? Any? Somebody said mobile? Mobile phone, okay. More? Online, anybody? You can type it in also, I think. You can key in if somebody on your laptop, or I think there's a bigger audience in Bhutala, probably can say the answer. Okay, I got the right answer online. Okay, okay, yes. Okay, so I mean, it's say if there were few answers came in. Yes, mobile is definitely yes. There's Google, there's social media, there's Facebook. So definitely yes, social media knows better than ourselves about our more than our husbands or wives or the children knows about us, because we put all our information on social media today, right? We take a birthday party, what you eat, you meet friends, big match, I don't know, whatever you call it, right? And artificial intelligence, as Bhushan said, analyze this. And Facebook, particularly if you take as example, they know what food I like to eat, what dress I like to eat, who are my friends, what drink I like to drink, what my shandy is all about. They know it. That's why you are being pushed with advertisements, which is targeted to you, right? So this is the world we are living in, and this is the reality, which is all of us experience this, right? So how do you know a birthday of a friend today? Facebook tells you, right? And like a big guy, you call him and say, "Much a happy birthday." It's not that you remembered it. Technology told you, right? I mean, this is day to day and day out we do, right? So this is where the world is we are getting in, and which is we need to be cautious about what it is from a security point of view. So with that, without taking much time, I will move into Varuna Jayalath. So we heard from Bhushan about the security side and the technology point of view. So Varuna is the country general manager for Dell Technologies, Sri Lanka and Maldives. So he will talk about perceived challenges in Sri Lanka, operational environment and challenges from a technology point of view. So Varuna is an executive leader and a technologist who do carry industry experience over in South Asia, Indo-China and Pacific countries more than 24 years. So he is practicing while advising, architecting, consultation, running business operations across geographic. So Varuna is coming from a very rich technical background as a lead in the industry. So he has been part of leading multinational, multitude of professional forum, different countries while engaging in various industries, verticals such as telecom, manufacturing, banking, finance, defense, and government. Varuna currently employed as a country general manager for Dell Technologies, composing managing Sri Lanka and Maldives. So he brings all this experience working for a global multinational, as well as from his technology background. So he'll be able to elaborate and give a perspective from perceived challenges in Sri Lankan operation environment and challenges from a technology view. Over to you, Varuna.
Good afternoon, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen. I have 25 minutes. It's a bit of a task considering this particular topic. Pursue changes in operational environments from a lens of technology. Within this 25 minutes, I will try to deliver few messages to you, to leave something with you, a couple of take-backs, at least couple of take-backs, which will not only help us in the military arena, also in any of the projects or any of the engagements that we do as Sri Lankans. My task has been a little lesser burden now because Bhushan as well as Indika has been sharing some of the aspects of where the things are moving on, where the technology is moving, where the new challenges are moving on from skills perspective and so on and so forth. But let me take you through. I will share you a couple of fresh perspectives, right? A few things as Bhushan mentioned about critical facilities and all that, and we'll elaborate and we'll extrapolate beyond that without taking much time. From a contents perspective, I will share what are the shifts in defense technologies. I'm not a defense person. I'm in front of, if I take at least average 20 years to 25 years experience from one of your officers, I think I'm in front of 2,500, 3,000 or 4,000 years of military experience, right? So I'm just a baby playing in a beach, right, compared to all of you. But I will share with some of the changes in defense technologies. And from a Sri Lankan context, where the defense, as a layman, how I see it, where we are heading on, what are the challenges. And the challenges that we face as a military, whether it's the Army, Air Force, or Navy, or as defense as a whole, what are the transformation challenges that we are facing on. And we'll highlight on the need for policy, transformation, as well as DT systems, which is called disaster tolerance systems. And with certain references, I will share the references with the symposium secretariat. So if anyone is interested, they can go and visit certain scholar articles as well. So Indika was mentioning about industrial revolutions. Yes, we went through multiples of industrial revolutions, starting in 1765 steam and coming to the current modern day, which is what we call Industrial Revolution 4.0. The war or the conflicts is a result of the human's need and greed. That's a simple statement. But the military technologies and the war technologies has been fueled by the other technologies. And it's a vicious cycle. When you want to be more superior, you invest on more and more technology. And the technology and the science fuel backs the military technologies. As you can see, starting somewhere from the World War I, the Mark I battle tank, you can't hardly call it a battle tank, right? Mark I tanks, right? Because it resembled a water tank by the British. And then you see the legendary Tiger tank from Germany, right? What was the advancement coming from World War I to World War II? When you introduced the Tiger tank, the main difference was in the armor, the steel technology that they built in, as well as the targeting system that they built in. But it has its own weaknesses. Another superseder came on. The battle was won from an armored perspective, is the T-34 from Russia. What they did was, rather than spending a lot in a thick armor where the engine could not carry for the Tiger tank, they came with a nimble tank, which is T-34, which has a lesser armor, but a better gun, but had, on a physics perspective, from the front of technology perspective, angled armor, where the shots were bounced off, as well as they pumped their energy on the production facilities, where there were more T-34 tanks, which are very nimble compared to the lesser number of Tiger tanks. That's where we were. Electrical, mechanical, and chemical technologies were driving at that time, which were at a much slower pace. Indika mentioned a very valid point. The previous industrial revolutions was apart over a century or few decades. But when we came on, the T-34 became T-55, like in our case, our beloved main battle tank from a Sri Lankan perspective. Then we had the reactive armor, as well as better guidance systems, better fire control systems, coming to the Abrams, where when it comes to the weaponry, we are using depleted uranium, as well as very advanced targeting systems, multi-targeting systems, as well as defense systems within the battle tank. It's still proving to be not so good in the recent warfare that we see. especially in the urban warfare and asymmetric warfare. The same goes starting from the machine gun, coming back to the legendary airplanes of British, where the Spitfire completely turned the table for Germany. What I want to say is, then comes the Mikoyan Gurevich in the Korean warfare, like where the jet engine completely changed the battle. The technologies were shifting in the previous generations from steam to electricity to manufacturing to electronics. The current warfare that we have been seeing is mainly driven on electronics. Where are we going on? The new technologies, which are at a much faster pace, is bringing in a completely different ball game into the picture. Germany will dish out Leopard 3 in 2030. The current milestone is 2030. Leopard 3 will be completely a different battle tank, where all four positions, the driver, gunner, and the commander, and the loader, all four positions, actually there's no particular loader, all four positions can be interchanged. The driver can be the commander can be the gunner. The station that's been used is the same station for all these four functions, which is way, way different from what we know from a battle tank perspective. Then by 2040, there will be an autonomous tank, nobody to man the tank. That's in the blueprints. That's been, not in the blueprints, it's been tested. The prototypes are being tested. The same goes for the other aspects of the warfare as well. The next generation of the Air Force would be, there would be one strategic bomber coupled with 4 to 5 unmanned fighter jets. You can't call it fighter jets. Those are multidisciplinary, multi-role aircrafts running around one-man aircraft. These are not science fiction. These are fact. Actually, I don't have to share with you. I know majority of you know. The same goes with the British is experimenting, and all the other countries are experimenting with a lot of autonomous naval vehicles, including autonomous submarines, autonomous submarine pods. The crux of the message what I'm trying to deliver is the speed of change is unimaginable. The speed of change in IR 4.0, which is called Industry Revolution 4.0, is unimaginable. And IR 5.0 is also coming round the corner. The shape of the warfare is completely moving from conventional to completely non-conventional. The theme of this symposium is the 5th generation warfare. It is shifting into a completely different battleground, which is far, far faster and which is very difficult to grab as well. Like while over lunch, we had a discussion, right? One of the main fears is these advanced technologies are now within the grasp of the developed countries. But these technologies are highly commoditized and can be implemented without much of a trouble, much of a capital expenditure, where it will go to the hands of even 3 college kids. So some advanced technology can be developed by 5 guys getting together. Probably they may not have an ideology. Probably they may not have an intention to make a war or to do a terrorist attack, but the technology will be with them. Let me proceed. So what fuel? I just wanted from as a technology person, this is my domain, right? What did fuel this advancement of IR 4.0? The sensors were there. Artificial intelligence is a very old concept. Even when I was at grade 4 or 5, I was reading, I knew artificial intelligence was there. Those are very old concepts. Machine learning, IoT, all are very old concepts. What made it possible is, those days, making computations done, or memory technologies, or interconnectivity was not advanced. Even if they were advanced, those technologies could be afforded by using millions of dollars or billions of dollars. In the recent history, in the last 10 years, the electronics industry advanced so much, the silicon industry advanced so much, the computing power has become commoditized. For the AI to work, it's nothing magical. You have to crunch a lot of numbers together. For the number crunching, you have to have very powerful processors. Those powerful processors are now at the commoditized prices. not at millions of dollars, few hundreds of dollars, you can buy one of those processors. The memory technologies has become much, much cheaper. If you take back a USB stick, those days people used to give USB sticks, right? And they were expensive as well. But does anyone care anymore? Does anyone care anymore? Imagine the highly advanced memory. Those has become much more readily available, which made AI, ML, artificial intelligence, as well as sensor technologies to become commoditized, even at military grade, because they are in electronics discipline, there is a general electronics discipline, there's the military grade electronics discipline. For the same component, there's the component which ends with the letter M, which is military grade. Even the military grade components, like when I was doing electronics in the university and all that, the military grade components were out of our reach from the cost perspective. But it is as well as reachability perspective. But it is now very much readily available for anyone to work with. So this is the factor which has been fueling. We will look at defense from a Sri Lankan context. Again, bear with me, I'm a layman. I may be a little bit of a military enthusiast, if you can call me in that way, but this is how I see from a Sri Lankan perspective. From Sri Lanka perspective, we have vulnerable economic and finance zones. The red color areas is where 80% of our economy is running. Yes, we can say we have agriculture, we have the tea estates and the coconut and rubber and all that, as well as few mineral sites, as well as few hydropower plants and all that. But the game has shifted where we are not expecting, in my view, we are not expecting a conventional warfare. We are not expecting battle fronts on ground. Rather, we are expecting pockets of attacks, pockets of infiltrations, as well as disruptions. In that perspective, if Sri Lanka to be brought down in a very quick manner, these are the areas that you should get into. Because you can see Jaffna is being colored in red, not because of the historical facts, because if you know, the majority of the banks in Sri Lanka right now is spending their money in Jaffna, because there's a huge economy which is erupting in Jaffna, because due to the connectivity between India and Jaffna. So majority of the dollar influxes goes there as well, due to the diaspora, as well as to the connectivity to India. So if you are to be crippled down, these are the economic and the finance areas. And the Kaveri Basin, the Mana Basin, as well as where the Maharavanakotu, which is called the Great Basin, and the Kudaravanakotu is there are fuel deposits, right? This is nothing to do with the popular understanding whether there is fuel or not. There is, for sure, because I did work in the Cairns project for fuel exploration, right? I have worked not only here in Brunei with shell gas, as well as in, with other large miners. There is fuel and gas in Sri Lanka. Those areas will become sensitive areas in our future defense battle theaters. And not only that, we have a major border control issue, right? Sri Lanka has become a re-exporting hub. We all know, for the good things as well as for the bad things. And we are sitting in the Silk Road, which is connecting the East and the West. And in the Belt and Road Initiative as well. We are sitting in between the Belt and Road Initiative as well. So there would be a lot of border control issues, human smuggling issues, possible hijack and pirating issues, as well as we will be prone to cyber attacks, as well as fifth generation warfare. So this is the context that we are in. It will not be, in my view, it will not be conventional warfare that we would be facing. And when we go to what would be the possible requirements as we go, we need faster intelligence and prediction. We need AI models. We need data scientists. We need a lot of data scientists within our military and Air Force and the Navy as well, or in a joint research organization. We need deep surveillance. Deep surveillance, not only physical surveillance, the observing surveillance, deep surveillance inside data to identify the patterns. There may be 3 guys sitting in University of Moratuwa or University of Peradeniya, completely innocent, without knowing what they are doing. They have the access to the technology. which can bring down Sri Lanka for 2 days. Are we in an economy where we can sit down for 2 days? We are not. Even if we grow, we cannot afford that type of disruption. We need lightning mobility to cover these areas, our economic zones, as well as our sea. We need different type of vehicular systems, especially the helicopters, as well as the drones, as well as the ships, airships that we need. A combined naval air force or the Navy to get their first airships. I know this has been a discussion for a very long time, but probably it's a time that we need to combine our forces. And hyper coordination. I know it's pretty well connected and coordinated, the Joint Operation Commandment and all that, but many more technologies has to be introduced for hyper coordination. Special operations, weapons and tactics are the order of the day, more than the conventional warfare. And dedicated units for cyber warfare and defense. These are the requirements which are stemming out of the previous context where we are living in. I have 10 minutes more. So from a way forward perspective, from my point of view, my point of view is not only my experience as well as combining the scholar experiences as well as other projects which are around our country. We need the organization, the military organization to do digitalization, leverage on Industry Revolution 4.0 technologies, advanced mobility, redundancy and hyperconnectivity, internal and external security, as Mr. Boshan was very, very accurate on, disaster tolerance systems, which I will highlight a little later. And last but not least, this is the most important aspect, policy encompassing a multi-year journey in transformation. What lacks in Sri Lanka, the biggest thing which lacks in Sri Lanka, I'm not too sure about the military. I have not been very much close to the three forces recently. What I see as the lack for the education, for the transportation, for the healthcare, for the research and development, for the university systems, is the policy, not only from a government perspective, also in the private sector. We just do it as we feel most of the time, or we just implement projects, or we do procurement operations. We just buy something. We just implement a project. We buy artificial intelligence. We buy a big data project. It is not part of a large cohesive plan. So this is the most critical area which I want you to take into your hearts, and because you are very senior officers, you will be part of planning, you will be part of the think tank. The making policy, the success of our neighbors, where I have experienced a lot in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, the success is the policy which goes for years and years. So we will go a little ahead, right? And I will share with you my thoughts further. We need to have a national defense IT policy, which is a subset of the national defense policy. There is a national defense policy. Part of that should be something stemming out of it, should be a national defense IT policy. This should be a multi-year, multi-pronged, multidisciplinary, based out of a large think tank. Part of those would be IT transformation. IT transformation is much, much required. Digital initiatives are much, much required. The other technologies, the cybersecurity, different aspects of protecting for the vulnerabilities internally as well as externally, as well as using AI, because everybody is very happy to discuss about AI, big data, IoT, all these fancy technologies, right? But all the other aspects, the policy and aspects has to come in. And systems, the last but not least, systems, fault tolerance, and disaster tolerance, which I will explain a little later in the coming slides. So this is a very high-level framework, which I will present to you. What you see in the blocks in the middle are the functions which drives the organization. You have a finance operation, you have an inventory operation, HR system, very crucial in the military, and the training requirements. These are the functions where the software and the applications will be running. Then we need to definitely have C4ISR, command, control, communication, computers with surveillance, reconnaissance combined together. Strategic planning driven by information technology. All these blobs, not only functions, these functions should be driven by information technology and electronics. It is a must. We need to bring in electronics and information technology into the picture. Simulations, data analytics, cybersecurity, casualty care and evacuation, as well as hospital information systems, pharmaceutical information systems, all those combined as part of the military strategy. Threat monitoring and intelligence research. All those functions which are driven by the software would be encompassed by networking technologies and systems architecture, which everything has to run on certain electronics. Servers, networking, cables has to be part of it. And those would be connected to different pods. There would be mini operation centers around the country. There would be field pods wherever there's a requirement, there's a joint exercise or a training or a situation erupts, there would be field pods as well as there would be mobile pods, which would be interconnected to different deployments. And especially the military is a very complex scenario because our systems don't talk to each other. The systems that I'm showing to you here one should be from Raytheon, one should be from some American vendor, Northrop Grumman, can be Honeywell, can be a German vendor. They are not talking to each other. From an Air Force perspective, we have the Mikoyan Gurevich, we have the Mills, then we have the Chinese Chengdu planes running, and we have all these transportation planes coming from different other vendors. They are not talking to each other. That is where the research body has to come in, which makes all these systems talk to each other. So this is the framework which helps as well as a starting point for you to go forward. But the key point I mentioned, all this should be encompassed through a national defense IT policy. If it does not cover the IT policy, if it does not come as an umbrella, it will not go forward. It will not talk to each other. I would share what is systems fault tolerance and disaster tolerance strategy. In usual IT, we talk about high availability, systems recovery, and all that. In defense, as well as in mission critical, extremely mission critical government or finance sector, we need to talk about disaster tolerance. Disaster tolerance starts with the policy, as you can see, number one. Number two is with the people. We need to have the proper people as well as with proper task and the proper process, proper skills, as well as with proper surveillance. If you don't have the people with proper surveillance, defense do fail. Number three is facility and infrastructure. When we are setting up the facilities, the computer systems and the networking, we need to evaluate our weather data. We need to evaluate a threat radius. The threat radius is being evaluated usually for the corporate sector from kilometers. But in here, the threat radius has to be also into the ground. We need to find out how do we manage our electricity, how we manage our facilities, supporting these critical infrastructure. This is a very lengthy discussion as well as a very detailed discussion when it comes to selecting facility and infra, which goes even up to the pandemic levels. We need to consider how we face a pandemic when we are setting up a facility and infrastructure as well. Then the process has to be part of it, which is the glue, which fits all these things together. Finally, the technology comes. The last piece is the technology. AI or the big data or data science and everything, the last piece comes and sits on all of these factors of policy, people, facility, and process. This is my last slide. National Defense IT policy is the bedrock. On top of that, people is the next critical aspect. If we don't have the people where we can replenish, we can trust, interlocks where we identify the people, we would have good people, would be compromised without our knowledge. We need to have these people policy as part of the the grand IT policy. Then comes the facility and the infrastructure. I think I have only one minute or 2 minutes left, but I will share one parting note with you, just to share with you the criticality of facility and infra. I've been working with one very large, extremely mission-critical clients where the operations are across 40 countries. They were setting up a systems architecture close to the sea. At that point, I was telling, no, this is not the place to do it, don't do it. And we shifted, and the tsunami did happen. And they were placing these systems near Ratmalana airport. I was opposing. I was completely putting my foot down and saying at one point, this is prior to the war ends, right? I said, there can be an attack on Ratmalana airport. If that happens, this entire area is under threat and will be cordoned as well. And it happened. The LTT decided to come in tin cans and come and bomb all over Colombo. And multiple data centers went down, by the way, right? And this client got saved. And then they were pushing to put it near Valikada. All of you know Sri Lanka Telecom has a large data center. I was opposing it again, saying that there can be a prison break someday. But they had no choice. They put it there, but they had a redundant, completely a one-to-one redundant system at a different place. And the prison riot did happen. And when this happened, the place was completely inaccessible for more than 8 hours, right? And after that, after 3 days, we all met together, all the senior officials. The CEO told me, Varuna, please stop predicting. Please don't tell us what's going to happen again, right? I just wanted to keep that thought with you because it's not a magical thing. You need to think beyond. You need to have the discipline and the thought process and where, what, and how you put your systems, people, and process. I think I'm out of my time now. The process, as I mentioned, is the glue in between all those, and then we can have a very good discussion about what are the new systems, the technology, the weaponry, and all that which will be brought on top all of these. Thank you very much. That comes to the end of my sharing with you, right? Again, bear with me. I'm just a layman, but I step a little bit into your side of the business, right? But the parting note is the number one priority is policy. Number two is people, process, and putting all this glue together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Varuna, for that great insight. So Varuna took us more of a journey of how the technology has evolved and what we need to think from a military point of view on a technology angle, right? So I'll give you a bit of an example with my personal experience as well. So in 1950s, when you're looking at 1 MB of data, which is to store, it was like more of a container size, which is you need that to be lifted put it in a container, right? The cost for 1 MB in that time is about $7,000. So now you have terabytes of data can be put it in more of a smaller device, which is comparatively it's about 360 million times cheaper than 1950s what 1 MB versus what we use today. So this is how fast the technology has evolved, right? Personally, for me also, I worked at Intel for 16 years, whereas one of the founders of Intel, Gord Moore. So we must have heard about the Moore's law, which is he predicted that every year number of transistors in the microprocessor which skill doubled, which is both of us have been in the same industry, which is Varuna knows this well, how these transistors are getting doubled, and that's where the power of computing has actually brought into the system. One of the key factors Varuna spoke about the policy side, right? So this is very much critical, but unfortunately from a country point of view also, we don't have a clear IT policy as such. Three of us have been part of the industry as well. But finally, we managed to get the digital economy policy in place with the help of the World Bank like a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully, it will go through the parliament, it will get enacted. Then up to 2030, we have a digital economy plan ready for the country. I think that's the ideal situation from a think back, from a military point of view. How do you align the 2030 digital economy plan, what country has? how from a defense point of view that has to be complementing and how it can be worked together. I think that will be a ideal situation in my view. And also the few points he spoke about the C4 ISR standards. So these are globally accepted standards, how globally the networks, etc., has been built on using these standards, and we need to make sure we adopt these kind of standards from a local point of view. And also he goes on spoke about the AI, etc., tools like the ChatGPT coming in and how it is been getting and disrupting our system, being a education institute as a war college is which is you do assignments. I mean, you will have challenges of people are getting answers out of ChatGPT. This is a real thing. I mean, Bhushan will know if it's coming from a more of a cybersecurity education point of view, your exams when you do that. But the thing is, again, we think about how do you stop kids using or the students using ChatGPT. I think that should be not the way, because somebody to get a right answer, you should ask the right question. So right now, when you're looking at more of the most demanding jobs, which is across the world, which is looking at what you call a prompt engineer. That means you need to have the skill to prompt the ChatGPT to get the right answer. So that's how we need to look at from a problem in a different area. So we heard from two good insights from both the speakers. So next 35 minutes or so, I will use for the Q&A. I will try to accommodate much as possible. So what we can do is from the virtual audience, you can key in your questions to the Zoom tool, as well as I believe who is in Bhuttala can ask the questions directly, right? Which is we are audible, and we'll take up the question, and also we blend it from the audience which is physically here. So some of the questions, there are some pre-questions came in. With the limitations, the time I have or we have, I'll try to blend the questions, what we get online as well as what is pre, as well as what we ask physically as well. Sorry. So start with until we get some questions online, as well as I'll pose one question for both of you in two different ways. This was given in the pre-questions what was taken in. They got on the mic. So now, from both of you touch upon the topic. So it talks about how does fifth generation warfare will impact the economic stability of the nation, as well as which is talking about how should the state address the rapid development of emerging technologies such as AI, autonomous weapons, or quantum computing in context of warfare, as well as probably we can relate into economic point of view also, because at the end of the day, the final result will be we'll have a economic impact point of view. So the question I will start from Bhushan for you is from specifically for the military point of view, as well as you can generalize as well, the skills point of view from a cyber security. What can be, what we need to look at, what need to be developed, and what is your recommendation on that? And Varun, I'll come back to you on the same question, which is about the technology side, which is I'll talk to you. Yeah, over to you.
Thanks, Indika. I think it's a very key thing in the cybersecurity world. The weakest link is the human. If you are not aware what is happening out there, you don't know what to protect. You see sometimes on the mobile phones, you get WhatsApp messages, you get normal messages asking you to click a link. And sometimes if you click that link, that device is not yours anymore. That can be somebody else's. You can have all these perimeter defenses in the defense headquarters. A closed door meeting can be held, but you take your computer. Somebody else can on the camera, can on your mic. So whatever has been spoken in the four doors or walls, somebody else have recorded it. So sometimes you start distrusting the people who attended, thinking like you're the one who lived because there was no one listening. But unfortunately, your device has been compromised. Somebody else have taken it. Because in your mobile phone, if you put a calendar invite, now I put in my calendar, I'm at the defense headquarters today. That's how I book my diary. So whoever has access to my phone, and they will know that I'm at the place. And if they want to listen to what I'm going to talk about, they can open it. So the most important thing in order to protect ourselves, our organizations, infrastructure, our life, is to be aware of what is happening in the world. I have been involved, I think I'm sure there are officers from the signals unit here, or at least online. I've been involved in with various generals at the signals unit, how to build the cyber soldiers. But my task has not been very successful, because I think in your process where you have people keep changing frequently, so that is the challenge, because these are very specific skill. You cannot change. You can't have people being there for 2 to 3 years and then because of your whatever the protocols that you need to change and gone. So it takes time to train somebody. So you train the guy, comes to the peak level, then he's gone. Then you get another set of people who comes in, and then you have to start the training back again. So if you are to protect, to build a set of cyber soldiers, it's going to be very difficult in that structure. You need to identify the people, at least you need to have 3 to 5 years or 10 years roadmap, how to create offensive security professionals, defensive security professionals, and also how to create forensic investigators. First, you try to, if somebody hit, you try to hit. That's offensive. Defensive, you try to protect your infrastructure, not allowing anyone to penetrate into it. Forensic investigation is if someone, by whatever the way has come in, you need to find who, where, when, how, what has he stolen. That has to be done. So it's a key thing, I would say, not only in the military, even in the corporate world. Training is very, very important. Specific training, as I mentioned, but moreover, you can have the best training teams, best cyber defense team, you can have the latest state-of-the-art equipment, but the ignorant computer user, which can be you and I, can bring all of them down. So you need to have an awareness training for every single person who uses a computer and has a connection into your defense network. That has to be told and trained. It's not saying that, look, I'm a lower grade officer, I have no access into that and this, so I don't need to be trained. No. It was good old days when your computer does not work, you have no internet, you tell the IT department, you fix it, I'll go and have a cup of tea and come until it's fixed. Today you can't do that. You need to protect yourself, you need to understand the computer, how to use it securely. And I would say computer today is the world's most dangerous weapon.
Thanks, Bhushan, for that insight. So, in summary, right, as I said, computer has to be protected. So we simply do our passwords like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E, or X, Y, Z. Your wife's name's your kid's name. How many of you do that? You do that, right? That means you're exposed.
I like to add one thing. So the people think the safest place to keep your house door key, no one else knows when you go out of the door, is where? Under the carpet or under the pot. No one knows, only you know. In the cyber world also, people think no one knows your password, only you know your name plus 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So it's our duty to do that. And additionally, I think probably Bhushan will agree. Like the regular, when you're on the defense network, you use your Gmails and the Yahoos of that. Also, that gets some exposure, which is the data can be, somebody can always breach into the system, which is important. That standardization need to gain. So, which is I'll move into Varuna. Varuna spoke about the same question about the policy side and as well as the global side and that the C4, ISR, etc. So, how critical is that we adapt or we follow these global standards and the technologies to be taken in from a policy point of view, from a military angle?
Thank you, Indiga. So basically,
Sorry, Varun, before going into it, the audience who's online, please key in your answers, questions to the Zoom tool, which is we will pick it up, and after this we will probably give an opportunity to the people who are in Buttala. Then we will move to the physical audience in the hall here. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, Indika. So basically, one of my favorite subjects is on high performance computing. Right, I can talk to you few hours on high performance computing, artificial intelligence, and data science. But I prefer to discuss with you not that. I prefer to discuss with you about the policy making, the fundamental necessity of structuring a project, structuring a journey. There are simple examples in our history that we can take, right? I will take few minutes to share with you. The King Dutugamunu, when he was fighting his war, right, in the initial stages, he was doing mainly skirmishes, right? He was doing skirmishes and getting defeated. Some of the young people would not have heard this story. One time he got defeated and he was running away and he was so hungry, went into a small hut. As Sri Lankans, we serve any visitor who comes on. There was a elderly lady, what we call an elderly mother, and served hot milk rice, right? And he was so hungry, he was trying to eat from each of the places. This milk rice like King Dutugamunu's bow. And this is King Dutugamunu. And he asked like, what, right? So you are going all over the place. You don't have a plan. Simply you don't have a policy of eating milk rice, right? What you should do is you get certain pieces aside, then it will get cool off, start from one place and start eating. So he had his milk rice and he won the battle for the country as well. They say that's the point his thought process got changed. Leaving it aside, when I was schooling, as a little kid, coming to Colombo, I saw the Dali Road Fire Brigade. It is the same fire brigade today. But those days, my father used to take me to Selinko building. I think all the generation would know, Akasa Kade and all that. That was one of the tallest building and the central bank. And he used to go into central bank and come out. Now, when I go out, so many high rises that we can see. I don't know how many floors there are. Maybe 70, maybe 60. But still, we have the same fire brigade at the same location. Lack of policy. Rampala, the gentleman, the engineer, who brought in a lot of standards to Sri Lanka in railways as well as the British. When the British times, there was one signaling system for the entire country, right? The Tyres tablet system. Now we have the Tyres tablet system beyond Ravukkana. And in between Ravukkana and Badulla, in some of the places, we have some electronic systems. From Vaunia to Mihintale, we have another system. In all the other places, we have another system. Now I hear from beyond Vaunia, we have another system. And we have the diesel electrics and the diesel hydraulics, because these are all mainly engineering crowd that we have here. We have the diesel hydraulics, diesel electrics, as well as few AC synchronous machines, and a lot of Chinese as well as a lot of Indian machines. Lack of policy. Where the money is wasted, where the economy is wasted. There is no difference from battleground to the finances, to the economy, to the fire brigade, to the transportation, when there is lack of policy. Same goes for education. But the risk is this. We all came, we went to school up to A levels and the universities, and you all went to officer colleges and all that. We went through a structured way of learning. We had a structured way of learning. The military is a structured way. The officers, how they rise up in the ranks and they gather the experience and all that. But we are in a world which is completely unstructured. The school kid has access to so many things. Right? I do have access to so many things. I have never gone in dark web. Talk to Mr. Boshan. He will talk about the dark web. Right? The learning now is pretty unstructured. All the military strategies, majority of the military strategies, the battle theaters, how to control drones, how to work with drones. A couple of weeks back, I met an open drone guy from Sri Lanka. His drone can be programmed to do anything, but he doesn't know how to use C4 explosives, right? I did not told him about that as well, because this young chap might couple a small amount of C4 explosive into this open drone and will try out. So that is the risk that we are running without policy in the defense, in the education and all that. So it may be a bit of a long answer, Indika, but I wanted to share the danger it carries, damage in the economy, damage in the livelihood, damage in the future of the country. Did I answer
Yes, very
your
much.
question?
So I think in a summary also very recently, like a couple of years ago, there was this experience that said somebody can try it out, right? One kid, I think in Maunal, tried hacking the president's website, he went through. You remember that? He went through. And if you want to hack, you want sitting at your home and your personal computer, you don't hack it, right? He tried it, he went through. The same way, because that didn't have the required, the security standards, that kid managed to hack it through, right? So this is very much can happen. Somebody can be intentional, somebody can be for fun, somebody to try it out. But the damage can be huge. So there are some questions coming online as well. Possibly I'll move into the Buttala location. Probably you can hear me. If there are any questions, we can take it from your location.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
We can't hear you.
Good evening, sir.
Still no.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, now better. Yes, please proceed. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Major Gayanarian from Senior Command Course. My question is regard to social engineering. The social engineering is one of the vital aspects of fifth generation warfare. So, as the experts in the field, how you assess this threat and its impact to the national security?
Yeah, Bhushan will answer that.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of ways of trying to be somebody and taking the information of your person. It can be a social engineering attack, or you can personate as somebody and take this. So the only way that you can avoid such social engineering attack is to get the general public aware. Now there are two common things happening right now. I think all the banks have been telling, even one incident, they have used our company account name as well, where they say you're trying to do an online transaction, you've done an online transaction, and they say asking for you to call and ask to give the OTP that you have just received, one-time password. So if you give your OTP to that person, then your account money is being transferred by that person. That's one attack. The other social engineering common thing is you also would have got the call. Someone from the bank calling and saying, I'm calling from this bank, and before you go further, can I verify you? Now you didn't call the bank is calling you. So how do you know whether it's the real bank? So if you, without verifying the person who's calling, and if you give all information to the person, then your account is not yours. So there is no way of stopping the social engineering attacks. The only way that you can stop is that you, when such call comes in, that you are aware that this is a social engineering attack. Never give personal information over the phone or the internet to anybody. Now, it happened to me. One of my batchmates one day in the evening on Facebook, I was just about to go to sleep. On the Facebook, he sends a messenger asking that he's going to contest for this program. Can you please vote for me? So I said, it's him. So I never doubted at that time. So I just replied back and said, for sure. Then immediately sends me an email saying, I have sent you the voting code via email. Can you give me that code? Luckily, I'm aware of it, so I went to my email and went to say, what does the email say? Facebook is sending you an email saying somebody has logged into your account, has trying to change the password. This is the two-factor authentication. If it is really you, you put this passcode into that. Now, if I have not read that email, if I have 100% belief on the person who on the WhatsApp, on Messenger who sent me, I would have given that code. If I had given that code, that Facebook account is no longer mine. So the social engineering attacks can be in various forms. There is a very common social engineering attack where it is done at the DEF CON, which is the world's largest hacker conference in Las Vegas, United States, where this lady hacks into his person who's interviewing him in US to his account. He gets his, social security number and changed the password, all that. This lady only need to have a computer and a crying baby. So she had put the crying baby sound coming on and calls the teleco operator and says, look, my baby is crying, blah, 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 and going, and managed to take the entire social security number, changed the password and did everything within 3 to 4 minutes. So if someone says that you need to stop this social engineering attack, yes, we need to stop. The only way that you can stop is making everybody aware what is happening.
Thanks, Bhushan. Thanks. I hope you got the answer for that. Or we'll take one more question from Butala location. We move into the physical audience here. You have one more? Okay. Possibly until you get prepared, I will move to the physical audience here in the auditorium. Then we can go to the Butala back again when they till prepared. So over to you audience here. Basically, we have Varuna and Bhushan. Any raise of hands? We can.
My silence is normally either you understood everything or you didn't understand anything.
Okay, so until you also get prepared, there are 1 or 2 came online as well as the pre-questions as well. So what here the question which is came online as I blend it with the on the question which is given pre as well. So it talks about technological advancement and artificial intelligence. Is that not a threat for the well-being of human race? So leaving machine to analysis and decide can be like a two-edged sword, right? So basically what it's saying is it's not a threat, like, we need to use it and it's a double sword kind of a situation what we are in. So the question is here, what they're asking online as well as some of the when you're blending, is there any malfunctions or in a situation, what is the best way to handle it? In such kind of situations, like in more of a, I believe more of a crisis management, maybe both of you can chip in, maybe starting with Varuna.
Okay. I think Bhushan is the expert
Best,
when
okay.
it comes, yeah.
Okay, so in terms of securing your network is number one, you cannot 100% safeguard everything that you have. You need to understand that. At the same time, you need to identify there's something called data classification. You need to classify your data, identify which data is critical and that you need to protect. So one, you need to separate that. For example, if somebody asks me to hold these 2 books and wait, there's a certain number of hours or minutes I can hold it. But what you have inside this is only one document which is confidential. Everything else is public. But if you ask me to hold that document only, then I probably can hold it for a longer time than trying to hold everything up there. Simple theory. So you need to do data classification, identify critical data, and you put security protocols for that. This is number one. Number two is that there is, the now ransomware attacks are very famous, where they attack into one person's computer and infiltrate to the entire network and put your entire computer down and say, until you pay this ransom, your data or your computer is mine. I'm not going to release it anymore. Now, how do you overcome that? So there's something called containerization. You don't put everybody in the same network. As I told you, you classify your data, you put them into multi-factor authentication systems, and you put them in there. And that is not on the general network. It is out of the general network. You have a special care for those data. So even if a ransomware attack comes in, that will only go to that general network, not to this network that you have already secured. So when you do the containerization like that, an attack comes place through the Security Operations Center or NOC, you identify data traffic is moving very fast, then you identify through AI tool or this is a possible DDoS attack coming in, then you straight away remove that network from the connection. So those are the few areas where how you can protect yourself of such damages.
Yeah. You want to add one? Yeah.
Yeah, basically, from a technology perspective, right, what Mr. Boshan shared about how you protect the network side of it. But when it comes to the actual data side of it, there are technologies called vaulting, where your data is being vaulted in particular time intervals. And once they are being vaulted, those vaults can be opened by designated individuals as well as with designated authority only. So vaulting keep on happens. Say you have your HR database as well as payroll. I will take the simplest example. So the military has a very large payroll system which has multiple facets into it, right? So like the failure of this system is a mission critical situation for you. Your payroll database can be protected, as Mr. Boshan said, that's the front side of the protection. From the internal side of the protection, you can do vaulting for the database. Vaulting means every 15 seconds we can do vaulting. Between these vaults, data vaults, there will not be any packet transmission. And there can be complete air gaps that can be maintained, which we call air gaps from a technical standpoint. No communication at all. Any tampering as well as ransomware will not leak into that. In banking and finance, in extremely mission critical systems, we do it across 100 kilometers. For defense, we need to do more than that. That's where I was saying, when it comes to the policy, we have to define what is our threat radius, as well as threat depth, and many other policies which comes into. So the technology is in abundance. There's no gaps in technology. The way that we structure and how we approach and how we disseminate is the big question mark.
Thank you. If the officers in Buttali is ready, we can take the question from you.
Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Proceed, please.
I am Colonel Mangala Amarasinghe from Army Vocal Buttala. So it is true that fifth generation warfare, it is channeling energy through a non-kinetic means. So where it is not personal sensitive or human sensitive. But still, it's a enabling factor when it comes to force preparation as well as the force generation. Therefore, the countries like Sri Lanka, of course, definitely we have to consider this as an enabling factor to generate our forces. But the problem is, an Army, Navy, Air Force couldn't have, or either a single entities, it is very difficult to develop its own system. So therefore, what is necessary is to acquire the technology as well as to develop the logistic management system related to this fifth generation tools. So it has to be centrally handled. So is there any policy decision has been taken at the center to develop the acquisition of what kind of technology needed to be acquired by the nation state, and subsequently how it has to be directed towards the individual stakeholders.
Probably with my involvement, I can address a little bit on that from a nation point of view. Its question is kind of a no. Right now, I mean, both of you will also know that. So we have a lot of challenges in terms of silos which is working, and certain we have spent millions of rupees, and certain applications we have to throw off. As Varuna said, like, about the data center, he was insisting on the experience he brings as engineer as well as the corporates he have been working in. These are the things we have learned. So some of the committees we have also been part of, but sadly, the decisions are not made. The latest example probably I can highlight was the government email system was attacked by a ransomware, like 6 months back, which is 6,000 emails went down, all the government official, gov.lk, went off, right? So these were possible reasons that we didn't make the policy decisions at the right time, and we had to pay the price on that. So from a state point of view, still no, but some are working on in progress. So it's also with my experience in the industry as well as I think military may have to make the decision faster versus the rapid pace technology is getting involved, and security is becoming such a great importance. Maybe as a state you can wait for a bit, but military may have to fast track it is the view, which is I can see maybe one.
Yeah, basically, as it is somewhat, not somewhat, like it's a kind of a policy question, right? As Indika very correctly said, the answer is no. That is the very unfortunate answer. For any of the sectors, I haven't seen any policy, not only government. Again, this is not a political discussion, right? Not only government, even 80% of the corporates, they don't have any policies in place. They have business visions to make money from the corporates, the private sector. Government is just running on a very traditional system moving forward. But leaving it the painful side, it's a very painful side, right? Leaving aside the painful side, one of the things that I can get back to that officer is, yes, as of now, Sri Lanka Defence Forces may not have all these applications or the tools to fight off the 5th generation warfare. Yes, you will have to procure, you will have to get the systems in. But if we start today, because you have a very good research wing under you, I have seen some of the results of that research wing. When you procure these systems, number one, we need to procure with a policy, clear-cut policy where we are going. We need to know where we are proceeding, number one. Number two, as I mentioned, one may be from Israel, one may be from UK, one may be US, one may be from China, Japan, wherever, different vendors. But when you bring all these, they have communication ports, I'm simplifying some of the technical jargon, which can talk to each other. Our research organization, the Defense Research Organization, has a job to do here. They have to create intermediary software which taps to all these tools or to technologies and bring meaningful truth out of it. If we start today with our brilliant minds, by the way, there's no lack of brilliant minds, right? With the brilliant minds that we have, with the tools, software tools that we have, within 2 to 3 years, we will have many middleware systems which taps into these and bringing another meaningful truth to ours, where probably some other country will try to come and accommodate and adapt. And this is not a too wishful thinking. This is realistic thinking. So my answer to the officer is, yes, we have to take over new systems from whoever is using, right? Because we don't have anything now. We cannot wait, as Indika very, very correctly said, there's no time left for us, right? It's already gone. So we have to procure, that's fine, but we have to start today. The first easy job is making these systems talk to each other.
Thanks.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
I'm with my two colleagues, but at the same time, I think the country is also progressing. There is a Cybersecurity Act has come out. I think the Parliament has approved that. Then also Data Protection Act is also out, and it is also been approved by the Parliament, and Data Protection Authority also have been set up. There is a chairman of the authority also, and then 5 or 6 members of the authority has been done. So yes, we do not have, but now we are going forward to that. But at the same time, I think from the Sri Lankan army point of view, there is a speaker coming tomorrow from the Ministry of Defense, Colonel Dhammika, right? So that, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just trying to see his designation here. I think he's heading the cybersecurity section for the Sri Lankan army. So you'd be the
Yes, sir.
ideal candidate
The one-
to ask
Dhammika
what
Dhammika.
is the plan the government has in that.
Yeah, I think Bhushan, so there's going to be two setups, right? From a cybersecurity point of view, there's going to be a civilian version with the cybersecurity authority, if I'm not mistaken, with the act which is get evolved, and also for the military, there'll be a separate one which is within the Ministry of Defense. So probably I'll move into
One
probably-
small thing,
Yeah.
Indika, right? From civilians' perspective, we are here to share our knowledge and show us a little bit of guiding light. Truthfully, if there's a IT policy, defense IT policy, we should not know, not even a bit, right?
Okay, so I'll move into a question from the physics. Yeah, please. We have a mic. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Prageet Muthumala. In our childhood, we saw the typewriters, and now those models are obsolete. And today, we can see so many sophisticated the photocopy machines, etc. So the technology is changing day by day. So technology can use for the creation of wealth of the nation, and so and as far as the destructive purpose, also we can use the technology. And today we are talking about fifth generation warfare. So technology played vital role in the sixth generation warfare as well. So my question is about sixth generation warfare or industrial revolution. So what would be the possible impact on sixth generation warfares or industrial revolution, sir? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, basically, the technologies will continue to advance. From a very wishful thinking, my sincere wish is when it comes to between nation and nation, they will let the machines fight, not the humans. The humans will stay back in a data center or an op center where the machines will do majority of the fighting rather than the people getting involved, because like the human life is the most important thing on ground. That may be from established countries' perspective. But the critical factor would not be that, right? The established countries will have certain code of conduct, right? We have gone through the times of the Nazi Germany or the Japanese atrocities done in Asia and all that in the Second World War. Those has gone, right? We do see now mainly when the big countries clash each other, they do a professional warfare, right? They don't go and blast off Berlin, put London into the ground. They don't do that any further, right? So as we progress, I do wish, right, this is a wish only, that it would be more machine-related or cyber-related warfare, because crippling a country can be done without a single explosive as we go forward. But the problem is not that. The problem is beyond the conventional governments. At a point, the conventional governments will have to get together, because in our society, we all understand, if we take the society as a bell curve, there's a set of citizens whom do think in a weird fashion. They don't like the norms of living, which we call the terror groups or extremist groups. The fear is fifth generation or sixth generation, industrial revolution 4.0 or 5.0. All these technologies are in abundance as well as cheap for these small groups to capture. That is where the risk will be. Probably the conventional governments will get together and will safeguard the economy and the livelihoods, while we would be waging a war more with this small set of people, which we cannot ignore, because their technologies and the methodologies would be far superior. I hope I did answer your question.
Yeah, I'm probably, if I add a small thing to it, right? So with the fifth industrial revolution exactly, which is we are talking about the digital twin. You'll have the physical world as well as the virtual world. So possibly if you look at some of the World Economic Forum discussions which happened like early this year, some of the countries actually talking about how they are making their regulations for the virtual world, or what we generally call it as metaverse, etc. So that is the situation where we are heading in. So with the interest of time, probably we can take one more quick question from the audience here. Yeah.
Good evening, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Prasanna Subasinghe. So, as we know, we all
Yeah, we can hear you.
we all are experiencing the cyber security and as well as other cyber threats from the outside. And what I asked from Mr. Boshan Jarrett, as a poor country, we are always debating on the applications as well as the appliances we are taking from our countries. We'll say that the Chinese and other countries. So once we are purchasing those applications or appliances, so still they can have access towards ourselves. We say that if our key appointment holders taking appliances from a reputed company or something somewhere, so they can send some applications, or they can have some access towards that appliances to monitor our activities, or they can surveil still ourselves by using remote sensing systems. So do we have any precaution method as a technical field?
It's called backdoor. So normally vendors, there's a theory behind that when you buy an expensive or military-based equipment, that the vendor can always put a back door and go, so that whenever he wants, he can enter to the system through the back door. But those are old theories. Now I think there are more technological advances are there to identify, are there any backdoors in the system. This happened many, many years ago. So now today, for example, if you take a traffic, if there is a traffic being used in one device, more than that it should be normal, then it gets highlighted. So if there's a backdoor, and if that backdoor used traffic, then it gets highlighted immediately, and so that you can take precautionary actions on that. So I don't think in the current day and age, you need to worry so much on the backdoors. But of course, what you need to worry is hardening your security of the device that you take. Now there are, for example, you buy a next generation firewall, but you don't put the security settings of the next generation firewall, because that will give you less operational support. So the people who use the system will come and complain to you. If you are an IT person, look, from the day that you put the firewall, I had to have a cup of tea until I download something. So then what happens when you keep on having those complaints coming in, the officer automatically puts the certain guards down. So that is not backdoor. That is basically you have not hardened your secure device that you have taken.
Thanks. You want to add something?
Yeah, would like to add something. So basically, going beyond a little bit of what Boshan said, right? I will give you one very simple example. This is well beyond I came to the industry. I came to industry in 1998, 1997, 98. This is about an experience of my boss, right? Who was a prominent engineer and a scholar in the country. When a simple printer broke down in US Embassy, right? That company, my boss was supposed to go and fix it, a printer, right? Though he is a highly educated person, he was the only authorized person to go in, because at a later time, I had the authority to go in with certain academic levels as well as certifications. What they do is, they have the faulty printer inside the building. They give you the exact printer outside, which is a non-functioning, non-attached to anything. So whoever the engineer goes in, take a telephone call to the inside of the establishment. There is some administrator or half technical person inside. That technical person is fixing the printer while the person outside, by the way, Chandana Veerasinghe, right, fix it from the outside of the building. So back doors and all that, in those days even, it's about how you practice it. You may get the, as Boshan said, the best of the best, the next generation firewall or the best of the best appliance or the best of the best software. But the way that the military is a very special unit. It is not the government, it is not the corporate. The way, the practices, the process, the people and the policy and how you use it.
Thanks, Varuna. I think we have more or less come to the end of the time, 2 hours what we had. So with on conclusion remark, I think it's not something which is we can do overnight. So we need to have a very proper plan. As we discussed, we need to have a roadmap. So with a very small example, I will take, like, everybody knows Usain Bolt, who's the sprinter. So when you're looking at his wealth, what he earned during his time is about $100 million. So time he ran, his 100 meters is less than 10 seconds, right? So when you're looking at the number of seconds he ran, it's about less than 2 minutes. When you're looking at his wealth divided by the number of seconds he ran, he would have earned about $2 million a second, right? So it's, somebody think it's very easy, but what went in was 20 years of training. So similar way, which is that we can't do the systems, all this is like overnight. We need to have a very robust process. Technology is not the rocket science, it is available, but as a policy level, exactly, which is we need to get everything in place. So with that, I will conclude the session, thanking Varuna and Bhushan, being wonderful panelists, as well as larger audience, which is physically here in the auditorium, as well as in Buthala, and all the other locations who join virtually as well. I think there's virtually more than close to 200 officers who have joined. Hope you learned something, which is, as end of the session, which is we can strengthen our network from a military point of view to save our nation from a technology angle. And also from 3 of us as an industry person, we can always do the commitment that we are available anytime, which is you need any guidance, any help, any inputs from a technological point of view, anytime you can reach us, we are more than happy to come and help you in this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I am privileged to mention that we have just listened to a very fruitful and interactive session on critical technologies and its impact. Therefore, on behalf of the Commandant and the staff of Army War College, we would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the session chair, Mr. Indika Soisa, and the panelists, Mr. Bhushan Dayaratne and Mr. Varuna Chailath, for sharing their invaluable thoughts and expertise and knowledge in the field of critical technologies and its impact.
Now, I would like to respectfully invite the Commandant of Army War College, Major General UKDDP Udugama, RWP, RSP, USP, NDC, PSC, to present a token of appreciation and a certificate to the session chair and the speakers of the second session. First, the session chair, Mr. Indika Soisa. Next, Mr. Bhushan Dayaratne. Next, Mr. Varuna Jayalath. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, since morning, we were able to listen to a series of thought-provoking, insightful, and constructive discussions related to fifth generation of warfare. I believe you are content and pleased with the knowledge that you have gathered from the discussions through this platform.
We also believe that the key takeaways from this intellectual will definitely benefit you all in your future assignment. With that, now it is the time to wind up today's program.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet tomorrow at 0800 hours for the third session of Army War College Symposium to discuss on military strategies in support of formulation of military guidance and policy making in relation to fifth generation warfare. We request all virtual participants to join the link before 15 minutes and all physical participants, please be seated by 0755 hours. Until then, thank you once again and have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
Recording stopped.